Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am up today with a 12 by 12 layout featuring a single photo, which is a bit unusual for me of late. I am using a mood board for a challenge in another group to inspire this particular layout, but basically what I'm doing is circles. It's all about circles. So I punched a whole heap of, I don't know if they're 1-inch circles or 1.5-inch circles. I can't actually remember. But anyway, I punched a whole heap of circles from paper from Jan Hadfield. I don't remember the exact collection. It's not the Avenue, I know that. It might have been a mix, actually, of, let's have a look, Chasing Adventure and, I don't know, it might just be Chasing Adventure, actually, I think. Let's see, I'm just checking my stash if that is indeed what it was, but I think it was. And so the picture, let's have a look. Was it Chasing Adventure? No, I don't think it was. I'm bamboozled as to what collection this was. Now I'm trying to find it because I'm super curious. Oh, here we go. This is Family. It's from This Is Family. Yes. And possibly a couple of things from Lovely Moments. Thank you. My curiosity now has been sated. So, This Is Family and Lovely Moments. Mainly This Is Family, I think. And I added the grey and white stripe from my stash. So, I have a photo of some girlfriends and I at a card class. And I'm kind of telling you that because the embellishments that I put in this page are very random, but in my brain, there's a reason for that. So let me explain. So I am creating, first of all, I'm creating some little kind of triangle-ish sort of background with my circles. So I am creating, a bigger triangle and a little triangle, just for interest's sake, no reason. I did initially think I would just create almost like a horizontal stripe with the circles, if that makes sense, like a horizontal kind of block piece. But then I decided I liked the look of something that was a bit more uneven. You can't really tell they're two triangles in the end because I do put my photo over the top. But yeah, that's what I decided to do. So I am sticking down all of the circles, but I don't make you watch it all, I'll be honest. So I am going to edit out that part. So you can see me here. I'm just sticking down the last circle by the power of editing onto the bottom of my layout. And then I do decide to do a little row of circles over the top as well. Now, this colour is not, the whole mustard, because it's very strongly mustard focused, this layout, is not a colour I am particularly fond of, I'll be honest. I don't know why, I don't mind wearing that colour, I'll be honest. But scrapbooking with it isn't something I'm loving, but that's okay. This was the mood board, so I went out of my comfort zone, and I like how the layout turned out, but it's definitely, a bit out of my comfort zone. So I'm adding the circles to the top, as you can see, and then I'm adding mostly half circles, I'm pretty sure, that I had cut. So I'd cut some of my circles in half and some full ones. I wish I had have left most of them full. So a tip if you're going to do this layout, or a similar technique to this, don't cut your circles until you're really sure that you want them in half, because I had initially thought that I would just go half circles to create my kind of effect, but I didn't love it and I'd already cut half of them in half. So it's a bit more limited with what I could do. I could have punched more circles, okay, we can say that. I could have punched more circles, but I didn't want to waste the paper. So here I am sticking down these, and I did keep these half circles. I will let you know they've gone back into the stash of this collection. And so, you never know. Maybe I'll use them again. Maybe I won't, and they will make it to the trash. But, I'm holding on to them for the moment because this was the first time I had used this collection. So, there you go. So that's my photo. a selfie of, well, I'm taking a selfie, but of all the 4 girls and I, making cards. And this was actually in July in Melbourne. So it was in between our 2 kind of lockdowns. So we had a window of about, was it like 3 weeks, where our restrictions eased enough that we could have people into our home, and then they came back into force because our numbers started creeping back up again. So this was a very short window where we were allowed inside. You can't really tell by the photo, but the girls are sitting quite far away from each other around my table in my dining room. So there was lots of space. We were social distancing. We weren't sharing food or anything like that. We were being very safe, but we hadn't seen each other since March. So it was really lovely. I actually did some online card classes with them, which they loved, just as a way for us to kind of keep connected. And when we were able to move around, we swapped kind of boxes that I had put together. And anyway, it was a lot of fun. So I've pulled out a whole heap of random embellishments. So some acetate pieces, there's some acetate florals that I'm adding to this layout. There's the little snail up the top doesn't make the final cut. In fact, that embellishment cluster doesn't stay there. There's there's like a bear on a bike. There's a dog on a chair. There's some cars. So they're very random, okay? And I acknowledge that they're very random. The reason I chose those layouts is because we make very random cards in my card classes, because that's what my friends like to do. So we often have, like cute little critters and a lot of florals, and the cars are featured. And so I kind of pulled out these embellishment clusters because they really reminded me of the fun kind of cards that we make in my card classes. And when I say I do card classes, I do, but I don't. So I have particularly these 4 friends with a couple of extras that kind of come in and out when they're free, like to come and make cards with me. And they like it when I design the cards and, have them all ready, and then they stamp and create and whatnot. But they like me to do the bulk of the kind of pre-design work. And so that's why I say card class. So it is a card class, like they're copying one of my designs, and they of course pay for the supplies and things like that. But I don't charge anything, for my time or anything, because they're my friends and I love having them come over and create with me. It's so much fun. And so I try to do, 4 or 5 a year. Obviously last year, I did 4 last year, funnily enough, because I made the boxes and we shared them around with these 4 girls, and it was so much fun. But I want to try and get back into it this year now that we're able to start seeing people again. And they love it. So we didn't do Christmas cards this year, which is one of the big things we normally do. So I'll have to make sure we get onto that last year we didn't do Christmas cards. So I'll have to make sure we get onto that for 2021. Everybody loves a Christmas card. All right. So you can see me here just faffing about with, where I want to put my photo. And I did decide to move an embellishment cluster up to the top right of the layer. I've just felt like, because I put that kind of strip of half circles there, it needed something else up there to sort of, anchor that and make it part of the layout. So I did move one of my clusters up there, and now I'm just sticking my embellishments down. So I do just use my ATG tape for my acetate pieces. Yes, you can see it, but I'm covering that part of the acetate with another embellishment. So obviously you can't see it because I've covered it. And then up the top, actually, in the top acetate piece, I do actually add way more tape than is covered by the embellishment. And now that I've said that, you can't see it. So when you put it over the more opaque parts of the acetate, because the acetate in this collection, the coloured section is actually quite dark and it is difficult to see through. And so, yeah, it worked well. Very pleased. I also find them a little tricky to use, so I'm glad I got them on this layout. So you can see me there, just building my clusters. I am popping up a couple of things onto foam. Actually, I'm just popping up the cars in each of the clusters. So I did put a car in all 3 clusters, just for some sort of consistency in this crazy layout. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. Again, definitely strayed from what I would say is my usual style, and that's probably color palette related rather than kind of, I guess, technique related, or the fact that I use those circles. I love circles on layouts, and I often use circles, so that part is fine, but definitely the color scheme that I've used here is way out of my comfort zone. So I'm glad I was, challenged and I made this work. Now, I've already pre-done my title. I don't love these stickers, but I'm trying to use them up. And so I just wrote card class fun. I was very limited in what I was able to create with these stickers. But yeah, I created card class fun. So I do know what these are actually. I've still got the top. They're called jewelry box. I don't know if you can still get them. I suspect not. They're a chipboard thicker in a gold, but a matte sort of gold. And actually, it's probably more of a bronze than a gold, I'll be honest. So yeah, I'm trying. Thickers are one of my things that I love. And I have a lot of them. I mean, not compared to some people, of course, but I feel I have a lot of them. And they're not stored very well in my craft room, and I find them difficult to look through them. So as I'm kind of rearranging my craft room and cleaning things up, I'm definitely looking for a better storage option for my thickers so that they're easier for me to flick through. And so I'm just trying to figure out how that might work. I've got some ideas, but it's just finding the time to rearrange things. My craft room is terrible right now. It's definitely not working super well for me, but that's okay. We'll get there. And I promise you, I will do a craft room tour once my craft room is set up, because at this point in time, I would be embarrassed to show you what my craft room looks like. It's terrible. All right, so I am adding some splatters. Now, I do add a lot of coloured splatters to this layout. I add gold, of course. I add yellow. I add a blue and a pink, just to tie in, the colours that are in the pattern papers. Yeah, although, I mean, there's no blue in the pattern papers. But I did add a blue. I don't really know why I added a blue, actually. And I did. What was I thinking? Anyway, I only just kind of noticed that the blue doesn't really match, so we'll just go with it. It matches some of the colours in my friend's scarf that's in the sort of right-hand side of the photo. So let's just go with that. Oh dear. Anyway, we are finished. Here is the close-ups. I hope you enjoyed this. I am just adding the date to my photo. I don't actually really need to do any journaling. I probably will do a little line of journaling about, how this was the sort of first time we'd got to catch up with each other since March. But I won't do a heap of journaling on this. But yes, here's the close-ups. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye, guys.